Good morning and welcome back to the Football Terrace. Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing and you've got the bell notifications turned on. Plus, a big shout out to our title sponsors today, One Football, the best one-stop shop for all your football news, league table, statistics, and much, much more. It's free as well, by the way. It costs you nothing. There's even live games on there from the likes of Serie A and much, much more. So scan that QR code or click on the link in our description below to get it downloaded. Lots of transfer stories to go through with you today. Of course, the morning after the night before, and I am feeling a bit worse for where me and the boys, we were up last night playing card games, drinking games. Tom Little is essentially comatose. David was wavy. And I felt like, no, I felt fine. Just showing these kids how to have a little drink and how to have a party, really. Uni kids think they know how to do it. Didn't go down well for them. I won. But of course, celebrating England, celebrating getting into the semi-finals where we're going to play the Dutch. More to come this week as we build up to those big semi-finals on the Football Terrace. But transfer stories, and I need to start with Chelsea. I have to start with Chelsea today. More young players on the way. The brilliant Fabrizio Romano, the legend himself, such a great guy, says here that Chelsea are closing in on a treble transfer swoop. As well as signing Renato Vega, the Blues are also finalizing moves for a Boca Junior player pronounced Aaron Alcelmenino and the American left back Caleb Wiley. That is for both those deals for around $10 million a piece, according to the reports. And it's further investment from Chelsea in their youth project. A number of young players have already been purchased this year. I think they're into the 80 to 90 million pound mark once these deals complete of money spent so far this summer, with the vast majority of that being on future players. Some are going to say, Terry, it's nearly 130, 140 because of the signing of Willian, but that signing doesn't happen for a year or so. So I'm kind of parking that until he arrives as opposed to this particular moment, because I don't suppose they've paid the money until he actually joins. Why would you? But look, Chelsea are continuing with this youth project. It remains to be seen as to whether or not any of these youngsters are going to play. I'm not going to write it off as bad signings because I don't know enough about the players. And I think that there's too much of that going on at the moment where people are writing off the signings, slagging off the signings of Chelsea. This can't work. It's impossible, without knowing a single thing about these individuals of which they are purchasing. So I'm going to remain objective. I'm going to remain essentially on the fence. And I know that's going to annoy some of you in the community that I'm sitting on the fence, but I essentially don't want to show my ass. I can't predict something to be bad when I don't know how good or bad the individual is. Now, what we can talk about is another story that's come out today from Team Talk, that Chelsea are willing to offer Lukaku as they make way to help them land Victor Osimhen. Now, signing Osimhen is a really interesting transfer for Chelsea. They do need, in my opinion, an experienced goal scorer. Now, we know that Napoli have already publicly stated that they are willing and that they are open to the idea of lowering that big 100+ million pound asking price for Osimhen. Now, that should be music to Chelsea's ears. I still think there's a player in there. My personal opinion. I think maybe the price is a little bit steep, considering all the problems clubs have got with FFP and with the PSR issues. But if there's an opportunity here, we know, by the way, that the new Napoli manager, Antonio Conte, wants to work with Lukaku. I think he's been quite public about this. It is well published and well coveted in media outlets, both in the UK and across Italy. So Chelsea really should be pursuing something along these lines. You could bring in a player that wants the Premier League, who has the capabilities to score you goals and win you more points, while removing a player from your ranks who is costing you so much money, tens of millions of pounds a year in salaries. You don't want him. He doesn't want to be here in England. It's almost a perfect match. It's almost too neat. It almost comes together too easily. And I think it is something that Chelsea should be focusing on. I think it is something that Chelsea should be trying to do personally. But I'd love to get your views and I'd love to get your opinions. Maybe you're not a fan of Osimhen. Maybe you're not someone that thinks, maybe you're someone that doesn't particularly think he's that good. I want to gauge your views. I want to gauge your opinions on that in the comment section below, people. Let me know. Now, moving to North London, there's a report that Arsenal are going to offer a cash plus player bid for the Barcelona star Raphinha. It says here that the Gunners have made contact with Barcelona over a deal for Raphinha and offered £30 million plus Eddie Nketiah for the Brazilian. Reports in Spain claim that Mikel Arteta has become obsessed with Raphinha and made him one of his priority targets for the forthcoming season. Arsenal's hopes of landing the deal for the 27-year-old have been boosted because the new Barcelona boss Hansi Flick and sporting director Deco are willing to say farewell to him. Now, you know my stance on these things. Yes, this is coming from the Spanish press. Yes, this hasn't come from any of the what you all would call the tier one transfer journalists. However, we've seen that with the Calafiore deal to Arsenal, that just because the story doesn't originate, it doesn't stem from one of these journalists, that doesn't mean it isn't true. It doesn't mean it can't come to fruition. There is a long-standing interest that Arsenal Football Club and Mikel Arteta have going back, I think, nearly 2 years, could be 3 years now, when Raphinha initially joined Barcelona. Chelsea got a deal agreed with Barcelona, and Arsenal also put a bid in to sign him, and it didn't work out. The player moved to Barcelona. We know they've been through some turmoil, and now seemingly they want to move him on. But I'm going to keep the same energy for this deal as I did for Man United looking at De Ligt. Just because he hasn't been amazing at Barcelona, that does not mean it will not work for him at Arsenal. Raphinha was an excellent Premier League player for Leeds United. I don't think anybody would deny that. He's a brilliant age. He's still only 27, 5-6 years remaining at the top. Would be excellent cover and would be someone that could really push Bukayo Saka on that right-hand side. We know he can create goals. We know he can score goals. And if you can pick him up for £30 million and you're taking Eddie Nketiah out of your squad, and by the way, I don't even think the two would be paid too dissimilarly in terms of wages. How much more than 100 grand a week is Raphinha actually going to earn at Arsenal? Plus, you're bringing in a better player. This would represent excellent business for Arsenal. It would give Barcelona a player. Eddie Nketiah is going to say yes. Why would he not want to play in Barcelona? Why would he not want to play for one of the biggest teams in the world? In some respects, some people, I'm not saying this, might even think he's stepping up in terms of stature, in terms of the club that he's at. They're not obviously in a very good position at the moment, but they'll definitely challenge for the La Liga next year. They invariably do. So again, this needs to be confirmed by some of the tier ones, this story. But if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'd be hoping that this deal was true. I would be hoping that this deal comes to fruition. When you look at the other players, the Calafiores that Arsenal are linked to, amongst some other players, you throw a Raphinha in the mix, and that squad's getting deeper. That squad is getting stronger, and dare I say it, scarier. That's good. I said that to trigger a few people. Yes, you. I can see you, Maradon. I can see you, Mr. Hassan. I can see all the City fans. We're not scared. I know you're not. It's just a joke. If you get offended by a joke, seek counseling. But let me know in the comments section below. Staying in North London, this story is really interesting because the tier ones of Tottenham have essentially turned this story down. They said, this story is not happening. This story is nonsense. That Spurs are leading the race for Eze. They're saying that the money is going to be too much. We can't afford it. We will walk away. But multiple top clubs around Europe are also interested in the 26-year-old. But Give Me Sports say that Spurs are at the front of the queue to sign him. Now, he hasn't had a great amount of game time for England so far, but we know the talent that Eze possesses. When you look at that Spurs front line at this particular moment, he would become one of the best players, one of the best attackers at the club instantly. And this is the type of signing. Look, they signed Archie Gray, who I think is an excellent football player. Raw, but an excellent football player. You add an Eze to this at Tottenham, and they're going up a level. They are going to go up a level with the way in which Big Ange plays. I hate the fact that Tottenham might get this individual. I really hate it. It bothers me down to my core because I think he's a top talent indeed. But how do you all feel about it? Spurs fans watching, are you excited? Are you worried? Are you concerned? Do you think you'll get him? Do you think he's worth it? How much are you going to pay him? And is this the backing of Big Ange that you've all been asking for? Also, we have Kate and Henry Wright and George and many other Tottenham fans, chatty patty, that appear on the football terrace that speak about we really want to see Big Ange being supported, backed, given a good quality squad. They don't want sort of Timo Werner level players consistently. But with Archie Gray, and according to this story, Eze, surely that would be seen as backing this manager, giving him star quality, giving him potential, providing him with excellent players with wonderful technical ability, high ceilings for development as well. I'd love to gauge your views. I'd love to garnish this video with your wonderful opinions. As I always state, your opinions, your views matter so much more than mine and anybody else outside of our community. Remember to download OneFootball if you haven't done so already. They are helping to keep this German dream of ours alive and keep us out here. And they really help keep the football terrace going so we can keep making this content for you, which I know the vast majority of you enjoy. Even the trolls you hear every day. I know you love it, really. You say nasty things in the comments, but I know you love me. I do know that. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.